Hello, welcome back to my channel. So basically, if you guys know, on Goodreads you have like those challenges that you can kind of put up, and when you complete them you get bookmarks throughout the year, and I really like collecting those bookmarks. It means a lot to me. I try to collect them all. One, because I like the challenge part of it. Sometimes it lets me dabble into books that maybe I wouldn't necessarily read, and two, just because I like competition. I played sports my whole life. I'm a very competitive person, and that's not going to change, and it somehow finds its way into my book life, but not in terms of reading as many books as possible, but just in terms of getting these bookmarks, these like little things I can show for myself. So basically what I wanted to do today is I wanted to go through one of the categories and sort of select which one I want to start with. So I brought my computer because I'm recording on my phone, and then I figured we could look at some together and decide which one I should use. So I'm pulling up Goodreads right now on my computer. I'll pop back in a second. Okay, side note, I'm also 5 books behind schedule, which I am not happy about, but I have read a book every month out of this year so far, so that's good. Okay, so I'm looking right now, and I'm looking at the fall challenges specifically, so those are the ones I want to kind of get in before December 31st, okay? So right now I have 4. I've completed Page Turner, which is 2 books during the challenge, Speed Reader, which is 3 books during the challenge, Book Boss, which is 5 books during the challenge, and Community Picks, which is because I finished one of the Dark Academia fiction books. I think I completed Arcana Academy to qualify for that one. So right now the options I have are Hispanic Heritage, Spine Tinglers, Heartwarmers, Fiction Faves, and Memorable Memoirs. So here's my thing, is I'm not really in a thriller mood, and I think maybe it'll hit right after Halloween, because right now it's the week before, but I am thinking that I just came off a nonfiction book that I really enjoyed, but felt like I needed some more story, if that makes sense. And so I'm kind of tempted towards the memorable memoir challenge more so. So I think we're gonna start there. I'm back from the library, and I have our book, Educated by Tara Westover. Basically, what I know about the book so far is that Tara Westover was born to a Mormon family, I believe, that are survivalists. So basically, they are kind of like doomsday preppers. And because of that, there's also a lot of distrust in the government. And so she would end up being at home, not going to public school, being restricted from the outside world, not really getting an education. And I believe this book follows her eventual journey towards education and what it ended up meaning to her. But I don't know much beyond that. I am very, very excited to read it. I've heard really just amazing things. So I'll start reading and I'll let you know how it goes. So I am now on page 104, so I'm less than a third of the way through. First and foremost, I have been finding the writing super compelling. It's objectively like well written. The writing skills that Tara has are just good. I don't know how else to explain it. The story is told in a very intelligent and insightful way. I feel like she's been doing a really good job at acknowledging that she's like kind of assuming what's going on in other people's minds, while also not trying to project too much onto those other people. I feel like she's doing a really amazing job at showing, not telling, even if it's trying to show a certain abuse or trying to show neglect. She doesn't come out right and say it most of the time. She has you come to that conclusion and see the pattern in the people in her lives' behaviors and determine that for yourself. And I have read so many books where I feel like the author undermines or just doesn't believe that the reader is intelligent enough to comprehend what they're trying to say. And I feel like Tara very much so trusts her readers and gives people the benefit of the doubt and assumes that they know what she's implying. And I really like that. Like, I like when an author sees you at your level and doesn't try to come off as pretentious and also not come off as if they don't think you're intelligent enough to keep up. Another thing that I've already seen in this book, it hasn't been totally discussed yet, the whole education perspective, but I am so touched, overwhelmed, I don't even know the right word, by the thirst for education that the children in this book have. There are moments where one of the children reads an encyclopedia in the dark because someone wouldn't turn the light on for him and he wanted to read the encyclopedia. Or one of the brothers taught himself math, if I remember correctly. And all of that being said, I am inspired by the way that they push themselves to learn in a non-structured way. They determine when they will learn. They determine what books they're going to read. They have to go out and search for those textbooks, and they do, because that is something that is important. Because that is something that is important to them. Also, so far, they have, as a family, gone through so many traumatic incidents mentally and physically. And I don't know if the book is going to go into the physical ramifications of what they went through, but I can only imagine the mental, not even from a psychological perspective, like from a neurological perspective, what that did to their bodies, whether it be overcoming infections on their own or traumatic brain injuries or improper healing of bones or lacerations or burns. I think that hasn't been touched on just yet, the lasting impacts of that, but I can only assume that they are huge. So I'm excited to see where the author is going to take this. I am not excited to read the rest of the story, but I am interested. It's just a very heartbreaking story, and what this woman has had to go through is definitely not simple. Yeah. Also, complete side note, that's like a very different vibe. But look how cute my Kindle is. I just bought a new one because my other one got ran over by a tractor. That's a whole story. But it's green. I got the sage green one because I'm gonna redecorate my room soon and it'll be like sage green. And then I got the cactus case so that they're both green. And look at this. This is huge for me. It comes with this, like, look at that. Do you see that? Yeah. And it also comes with this, which I honestly never see myself using, but it comes with it. But the big thing is this. So I'm really excited about that purchase overall. Okay, so I just reached page about 250, which means I just am starting part 3 of the book. I'm probably going to finish it tonight because I only have like 70 pages left. So it's a big thing in this book that Tara's father is very against what he calls the medical establishment. So anything about doctors, hospitals, antibiotics, pain relief medication like ibuprofen, all of it, he's very against it. And so they grow up as a family without it. But this family goes through multiple really traumatic accidents, like physically traumatic accidents where they almost die. And then somehow they survive without a hospital, without a doctor, with herbal slabs, because her mother makes herbal like remedies to treat pain, to treat infections, to treat burns. But they literally, one of the people had their brain literally poking out from their skull. Another one had 3rd-degree burns to the point where you couldn't even recognize their face. And yet somehow they are surviving with these herbs that the mother is giving them. They must really have luck on their side, because that part is really shocking to me and just crazy that they were able to survive that, every single one of them that went through that. Same with Tara, basically faces multiple broken bones. It's never really discussed how it actually heals. I'm assuming it never actually heals correctly because, again, she doesn't really go to the doctor, but still, that's crazy. This part also part 2 mainly focuses on her starting out at college and what that was like for her, and that was super interesting to me. One, I think a lot of times people take for granted what we learn and the education we are given. And it is crazy how if we were not given access to that education, if everyone took our phones away, if we never went to school, how different the world could look to us. And also how overwhelming all of that information could be if you figure out all of a sudden. Like, Tara in this book is exposed to different people, a new way of life, different information. It's a big thing in this book that she didn't know what the Holocaust was, and then she discovers it, and she's like, how can this kind of thing happen? And it really changes her perspective on the world. And it's crazy to me how much education is. Like, there's the famous quote that knowledge is power, but I also think knowledge is in some way life. Like, what you know defines how you view the world. And it's crazy because even reading from her perspective, it's broadening my knowledge on what people think of the world. Like, it is crazy that if you grow up in a family where they're very against the medical establishment, so to speak, how much a good physician can have an impact on you, how much a bad one can have an impact on you, how much the treatment can be important to you, how much explanation is needed. I also think it makes you reflect on how much we assume other people know because we take it for granted. Like, I feel like so often we think that the people in our lives have been educated just like us. They know things like us. And so watching people in this book not be patient with her a lot of the time, or not be her friend because they just don't understand how she couldn't know these things, is sad, and it's heartbreaking because this book makes me want to be a more patient person, a more understanding person, because I see the genuine struggles that Tara is going through just because people assume that she's joking or playing a game or pretending to not know these things when she really just doesn't, because she's been so sheltered. Beyond that, the abuse described in this book is very difficult for me to read. It is really painful. Like, I can, my whole body sort of tenses when I read those chapters. I think also the way Tara writes, and I touched on this already, but she has this insane ability to be somehow compassionate to people who maybe we would often think don't deserve it at all. But I think the way she writes these characters, she uses so much grace and care in how she even chronicles her abuser and his life, and she really tries to give the benefit of the doubt and try to explain how she views things without being too behind. This book, you can tell there is an author who is caring and gentle but also strong, and I think it's really beautiful to be able to hear an author's voice that way. This memoir, I am sucked into it. Like, I opened the book and I don't want to stop reading. Last night I was up until 3 a.m. when I was supposed to go to bed at 11 p.m. because I just wanted to keep reading the book. Beyond that, I also have had reflection on this book about teachers and professors, and in this case bishops, but religious leaders, and how much impact people in those positions can really have on people's lives. And I know that's something that people say all the time, but I think this book makes you appreciate it a little more, because if your family life is hard, the people in those positions, teachers, professors, mentors, religious leaders, they can really pull you from that dark place, and they can give you support in ways that you don't know. They can teach you things that you might not know at home. The teachers, the professors, the bishop in this book help Tara find her way when she's not getting it from the other adults in her life. They guide her, and they also push her in a way that only a truly effective and great mentor can. And I think having those mentors in her life is part of what helped her to getting a college education and getting a PhD and getting her scholarships and getting to where she is now. So as of right now, all I can say about this book is it's making me think so much about my life, the world, how I perceive the world, how I perceive people, how I act on my day-to-day. Like, I was not expecting this book to really make me reflect so much and teach me so many life lessons. Okay, so I have completed Educated by Tara Westover. I don't rate Memoirs because I just don't think I should be rating someone else's life story, to be honest. But the writing itself is really well done. I think I talked a lot about my thoughts on this book already, but a couple things I feel like maybe I haven't mentioned is I think this book definitely touches on cycles of abuse and how greatly how you are raised affects who you become and how you raise your next generation. And I think that that's a very interesting thing to reflect on from this book. I also think the experience of leaving your home for college and coming home and feeling like maybe you're a little out of place, maybe things are different, maybe you don't fit in the way you used to, is a very common one. I think especially for people who go to school far away from home and from their friends and stuff. And so I think this is definitely an extreme case of that, where she went to school is so different. But I feel honored, grateful, touched that she has let the world into her life and the experiences she went through. I just put in that I completed the memoir, and it's literally the bookmark that you guys, so I'm obsessed with it. But the next topic I'm gonna do is called Heartwarmers. It's a challenge, and I have to read one of the selected Heartwarmers. They have a bunch of categories, but it's basically cozy books. I once again just ran to the library and got the book because it was ready, and I got the Grimoire Grammar School Parent Teacher Association. Basically, from what I know about this book, it's about a woman named Vivian and her daughter Aria gets bitten by a werewolf, and then she now has to switch into like magic schools instead of your classic public school. And then there's a bunch of like PTA politics. I've heard it's kind of satirical, but I don't know the extent of that. So that's basically all I know. I'm excited to read it. I'm hoping it's cozy, PTA drama, big sales, but there's also a werewolf and like magic involved. But we will definitely find out. I'll keep you updated. It's been a while since you guys have last spoken to me. I'm not gonna lie, I think it's been at least a week. And there's multiple reasons for that. One is that I've been doing some traveling. I'm starting work this week, and I've been reading another book with my boyfriend. But the real reason is I have been really not liking this book at all. And I do have a problem where I can't really DNF, which maybe I need to work on, but I haven't yet. But I am not having a good time. I think I'm about a third of the way through, and I have a couple things to say, but the main one is that I really don't like this main character, the mother, Vivian. I don't like her at all. And the reasoning for that is just that I find her to be superficial and immature, and I don't like it. I don't like the way she talks about her daughter in the scheme of things. She claims to be wanting to protect her, but it just feels like she's embarrassed of her. Every time she speaks, it feels like she is incredibly embarrassed of her daughter, and that is very frustrating to me. There's obviously there's some guilt and stuff in here that she addresses, but most of it just feels like pure embarrassment she has about her daughter. Literally in this last chapter that I read, she talks about how all the other girls are beautiful and how she just doesn't expect her daughter to grow up to be as pretty, and how that's something she's not happy about. It just feels like she's so focused on her daughter fitting in that she's lost the plot a little bit, and I don't like that at all. And back to the immaturity, I just genuinely feel like she's acting like a child. Like the things she says, the way she acts, the things she does genuinely feels like I'm in a child's head, except she's a mother raising another person. I kind of hate her. I really don't like her at all. And maybe she'll grow on me, maybe she'll have character growth, but it's just not happening. I just feel like she's projecting all of her insecurities, everything she's gone through onto her daughter in a very not cute way. So if she's supposed to be the main protagonist, I'm just not liking it. I also I understand there's supposed to be a commentary on the fact that PTAs in schools give drama, give everyone trying to stunt on the other, but I'm not a mother. I'm not a part of PTA. Maybe my opinion will change, but it just feels so high school that to me it's just frustrating and unbecoming of people of this age group. But maybe I'm just too young, and maybe I just expect people who are in their 40s and are parents to act a different way. Who knows? I don't know. Overall, not liking this book. If I DNF'd, I probably would, but I don't. For some reason, I'm incapable. I'm gonna keep reading. and I'll keep you guys updated. I'm hoping to finish in the next couple days because I don't want to read this forever, but I will let you guys know if she grows on me or if I just think she's insufferable forever. Okay, so I just read something that I think perfectly encapsulates why I'm so annoyed with this woman. I'm gonna read it. So it says, Vivian fought her annoyance. She'd finally managed to have something approaching a normal mom gossip session, like a normal mom, normal for her at least, with normal friends. And she had finally been starting to piece together some of what was going on in this ridiculous town, and Arya had to go and ruin it all, like always. Like, I'm so ridiculously sorry, but you are so angry because your daughter disrupted your gossip session. And then she talks about how she's not going to resent her daughter. Like, I'm so sorry. I personally am so not a fan of that. I hate everything about it, actually, and I don't like it, obviously, because I just said I hated it. I just think it's ridiculous. Like, I really think she's being ridiculous. Her daughter literally is just been turned into a werewolf, is navigating that. And she's like, oh my God, I had to move to a different... Your daughter's navigating becoming a werewolf. Like, I don't understand. This woman just feels so selfish and not just whatever. I'm just not a fan of her. She makes my blood actually boil. It has taken me literally multiple weeks to finish this book, but it's done. It's completed, and here's really what I think. Let me back up. Everything I've said so far, I do firmly stand behind. I hated the main character. I think she does a lot of growth, but here's my problem with this book. My problem with this book is that most of the character development, most of the changes, the mystery, the cute stuff, the heartwarming stuff is within the last 15%. Literally 15%, I checked. So my issue with that is that if you're marketing your book as a heartwarming, cozy book, it was literally in the Heartwarmers category of the Goodreads bookmark thing, I expect that to be the case, and it wasn't. It was incredibly frustrating. It was sad. It was a woman battling with her demons. And even that type of story I didn't like from this character in this way. So overall, I just had a bad time. That last 15% I did enjoy, so I'm gonna give it 2 stars. But it was 1 star up until the end. I did like the children. I liked the world for the most part. It just didn't deliver on what I thought, and I thought the premise was good, and I was really disappointed, and it felt like I was pulling teeth a little bit to get through up until that last 15%. So those are really my thoughts. Everything else just goes back to the fact that I hate the main character, and I think she's
insufferable, annoying, childlike, rude, mean to her kids, ungrateful, cause problems for herself, blames other people, immature.
I could go on and on and on about how much I don't like her, but I think we've heard enough. So I think I'm just gonna go to bed and just like rid my mind of what I've read, and then hopefully tomorrow I'll pick up my next book. Hi guys, so it's the next day. I actually got the heartwarming bookmark, and it was so worth what I went through because it's super cute. I'll like put it here somewhere. And the next bookmark I wanted to like accomplish, I guess, is for Hispanic Heritage Month and books by Hispanic authors. There was already a book on there. It was pretty much the first book to pop up that I wanted to read, so I just decided that I'm reading it and went and got it. And it is My Name is Amelia de Valle. The reason I want to read it is because this author, Isabel Allende, she's my boyfriend's mom's favorite author, and I read one of her books before. And basically, I liked the writing. I really liked the way the story was told. It was very unique, very matter of fact, but I had an issue with some of the things that were included in the story. There were certain things that either rubbed me the wrong way or I didn't like or made me uncomfortable, and that was the issue, but it wasn't the writing itself. I actually thoroughly enjoyed the writing itself, so I want to give this author another chance. It's also all translated from Spanish, if I believe, but last time I didn't have any issue with the translation. I thought it was beautiful. Basically, I don't really know what this book is about, but as far as I know, this specific book follows Amelia del Valle and her sort of life, and it has this historical fiction backdrop of the Civil War, in Chile, and she's a journalist, I believe, but we watch her fall into that career. I don't really know much about it, but I'm really excited because also this premise in general I find interesting. So we will definitely see, but I think it'll be a good read. And it's only 287 pages. So it's less than 300 pages. It's relatively short. I think I should get through it pretty quickly. And I'm excited, but I'll let you know how I feel about it. Okay, so I finished part 1 of My Name is Amelia de Valle, which means I'm about 80 pages in. So first things first, as I said, I think already, I like the way Isabel Allende writes. I like her writing style, and I like the pacing. It is very quick. It is very matter of fact. It is very, this is what is happening. No less, no more. It is written very elegantly, and you really get to understand the character's voice and ideas. This main character, I really love her. She's very much so a feminist, a suffragette in a time where that was very controversial. She is striving to succeed in a man's world. In this specific book, she is sort of like, yeah, she's a journalist and she's trying to succeed, and this is set back when like women couldn't be journalists. They couldn't get published. No one would publish them because it was what a man was supposed to do. And it's more of a minor talking point, I think, in the book, but it is very interesting watching her make that journey and try to fight for recognition in that space. It's sort of focusing on the Chilean Civil War, which is something that I don't know that much about and haven't read about really at all. I think the other book had mentioned it, Isabel Allende's other book that I read kind of mentioned it, but I don't know that much about it. What I just finished reading was about a specific event in the war, and I think like I need to look into it, because the difficulty I sometimes have with historical fiction is sometimes they mention battles or events and they say it very matter-of-factly, and it can be hard to tell what is actually history that they are using to set the backdrop of their historical fiction and what is fiction that they're using almost as history to up the ante. And so that is something that I don't want to confuse. So I do think when I take on historical fiction, I make a point to look up specific things that are mentioned in the book. But beyond that, I'm really enjoying it. It also feels as if this book is going to be a lot more political and a lot more historically focused, and I'm really excited for that, because the other one read a little bit more like drama, like gossip, and this one is giving a lot more politics. It's giving a lot more history. It's giving a lot more events, with the undertones being drama and self-discovery and love, but not as much so the focus. Almost like the two kind of swapped in priority. So it's really interesting because the woman, like I said, is a journalist, and so basically they're recounting historical events, it seems like, as if she was a journalist. Like obviously she wasn't on the boat. She like hooks up with one of the sailors, and obviously she didn't actually hook up with one of the sailors, but it is cool that the events themselves did happen. So I'm enjoying that, as I said, and enjoying learning about these events that I don't know that much about. So it's been a few days and I'm now on part 4. Specifically I am on page, I think 26. This book is incredible. Honestly, I think it's amazing. I only have 50 pages left, and if something really goes wrong, it's gonna be a 5-star read. I think I'm gonna be able to articulate this better maybe towards the end, but I just think this book is so powerful and important, and it was just published, I think, this year. Let me check. Yeah, it was published this year, and I think that is simply the right time. I have so many thoughts and I want to make sure I verbalize them properly. I just want to start off by saying that this book is very different than what I expected it to be. It is very much so about war and the realities of war, and it does a really amazing job of showcasing the fact that at the end of the day, the people running the war, the people deciding that we're going into the war, are the quote like elites basically, and the people actually fighting the war, the people dying, are just kids. They're really just young boys oftentimes, and it was just, I have so many thoughts, and I think they also did a really good job of kind of explaining the difference between a civil war and a foreign war between two countries. I think that there's a lot of notable differences in a war like that, and there are a lot of like social impacts to that are addressed in this book that I think is really well done. There's also, oh my god, there's so many things. The inclusion of the canteen girls in this book, for context, the canteen girls were essentially women who were a part of the Chilean Civil War that were at the battles, and their job was mainly to give out water. They weren't supposed to give out alcohol, but they gave out alcohol, food, sort of stuff like that. But as the war is being fought, literally on the battlefield, many of them died, many of them fought, even though maybe they weren't supposed to. Some of them did. And it was really, to me, it was such an impactful thing to include. It's small, but it's not at all. It's just such a good case of showcasing women being strong in history despite the place that society tried to put them in. And I thought that was just showcased so well in this book. And there are so many cases throughout history where women did that, where they showed up and they showed out in male spaces where they weren't supposed to be, and they fought. And I feel like because history was written by men, oftentimes it's not showcased the way it's supposed to be, and women do not get the recognition in history books that they deserve. And so I think that was huge, especially because so many canteen girls did die. They did lose their lives right alongside soldiers on that battlefield, and I think that is an inclusion in this book that really touched me. There's so much more to say, so I'm gonna finish the book before I verbalize it all. But I love this book. The writing is very well done. The writing style is unique, and I'm gonna talk about that more when I finish. Yeah, that's all. I hope I'm like expressing my thoughts the way I want to. I'm so surprised and impressed and happy that I read this book, and I really think that it's a book that everyone should read. I finished My Name is Amelia de Valle. It is in fact raining outside, and I just returned to the library. Basically, my thoughts is it's 5 stars, 100%. I think I pretty much verbalized how I felt. I think the big thing is I just felt like it was such a compelling read, such an important read. It was something that I didn't expect to be hit by so intensely. I think I already discussed the canteen girls, but I thought their inclusion was super important and amazing, and a reminder of how many women throughout history have truly contributed in fields that you wouldn't expect them to because of all the barriers keeping them from doing so. But just because they wanted to, they pushed and did. And then despite the risk to their lives, or many of them having lost their lives, specifically with the canteen girls, they still don't get the recognition I think they deserve. And so I think their inclusion in this book was super important. The writing style, Isabel Allende has a very unique writing style. It's very matter of fact. This is the way it is. There's no fluff, there's no nothing. But I think in the last book I liked it. In this book I really liked it because, especially in a book where the main protagonist is a journalist, that sort of matter of fact writing style, no emotions, no fluff, was very effective in building trust with the reader. And also, like, it was very clear that she doesn't think that the reader is dumb. Like, she trusts the readers to come to their own conclusions, to understand, to make decisions, to get what she's get what she's doing. I think that was amazing, and I really appreciated that. The romance in the story, it's not a romance first and foremost, okay? It's a historical fiction. It's about war. That's what it's about. But I enjoyed the romance. I thought that the man she ends up with, I'm not going to mention it because I don't think it's a spoiler, but I'm not going to mention it anyways. I think that their relationship was really cute for the little bits we got to see of it. It's definitely not a main plot point, but their banter was just cute, and I really liked him, honestly. Minus, like, there's something that happened during the war that was a little, like, I get why it was included, and I get that, like, she was trying to emphasize herd mentality, etc., but it was a little like, like, sir, I don't know if that's what you really should be doing. But anyway, so this book was one of those books where I wanted to learn more about the history because I didn't know that much about the Chilean Civil War to begin with, and so I was researching a lot of things, whatever. And I found out that Isabel Allende, the author's the author's father's cousin was the president of Chile, and he went through what the president in the Chilean Civil War that we follow in the earlier time period in the book went through very similarly, and that's what inspired the book. And that was very, very interesting because it definitely showed that, in my opinion, she had a very, very unique and knowledgeable connection to this story, and I feel like that's very tangible. So overall, I love the book, and I got this super cute, I'm gonna put it over here, this super cute bookmark from the Goodreads achievements. So I'm feeling good. Anyways, that's really all from me. I really enjoyed this. It was fun. I read some books that I don't think I would have reached for right away on my TBR, and I'm really happy that I did that. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling like this was a very pleasant experience. I want to do it again. I'm not going to get the rest of the bookmarks for this year, unfortunately, because I think there's 12 days left in the year, and like I need to get 5 bookmarks, and I just don't see that happening, really truthfully. And there's just some other things I want to read, but I'm still happy that I did this, and I got some really good reads out of this. So I'm feeling great. Yeah. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you on the flip side. Bye.